Pronto, Vincenza.
And Pronto, Randy. And welcome everyone to Pronto Podcast. And this happens to be our 10th episode. Can you believe it?
No.
10. That's so exciting. Well, welcome everyone. We're so excited to have you join us for our 10th episode of Pronto, which is basically conversations of life. We love to talk about all the beautiful things life have to offer, as well as fashion, self-care goals, inspiration, stories, just everything. Sky's the limit.
And wonderful guests. We have had wonderful guests like artists and acupuncturists, and
we've had a plethora of guests and a variety and a diverse group. We're so fortunate that we've had the opportunity to interview so many incredible, talented, inspiring individuals on this podcast, and many more to come.
Yes.
I mean, we're already booking for 2023, which is such a good sign that we're booking so many amazing guests for our 2023 season. So this will be the last episode for 2022, but definitely stay tuned for 2023 because there's so many amazing people to look forward to. And I'm going to make a little mention of someone who's already booked for January. So make sure you follow us and stay tuned for more information on what date and what time so you can follow and learn more about Amanda Kimball.
Yeah.
So sweet. Actually, Randy came in today and said, Vincenza, I have a gift for you. And it's from Amanda Kimball. And I'm like, oh, okay, what is this? She made such a beautiful, I don't know if you could see, I know it might be a little bit hard to see, this beautiful custom little note card and envelope. So beautiful. It has my name on it. It might be a little bit hard to see, but it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And her Instagram handle is at AB Kimball, Kimball. She will be on Pronto next month in January. Stay tuned for what date and the time to join us. But so nice.
Yeah, she's a nature photographer, artist. She does watercolors and cards, and we sell them at the salon, and they're really popular. And she's a spectacular person. So make sure you tune in.
I can't wait to meet her. I can't wait to meet her. Thank you so much for this. This is awesome, Amanda. Thank you. All right. So, Randy, what's new? How was your weekend?
Well, like everybody else, I'm preparing for Christmas.
Are you ready?
Right? No.
Well, I'm right with you because I am so far from ready. Is Christmas next week? Is that true?
I think we have 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks? Oh my goodness. Yeah. I'm so not ready. I'm so guilty. I've not started Christmas shopping. I should have started. I had all the intentions of starting early this year, but I've been putting it off because I'm like, oh, I'll wait. And then it'll just happen. However, I do work well under pressure. So that's something that I think I've learned in my many years of growing up in the restaurant industry and also in the pageant world and just being on television. I tend to work very well under pressure. So I think what will happen is it's down to the wire. I'll have one day to go shopping and I'll be able to accomplish everyone's Christmas gift in literally probably an hour. And because I know I work well under pressure.
I've been there, done that, like a zombie in the mall. Like you're just walking, no idea. You're just like staring. And
that's perfect.
Walking.
Or pacing a little. I have to tell you, when I'm on a mission, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at that. But I have to do it alone. I can't have someone beside me. I have to be like, I'm on a mission. Let's go. We're going in and we're getting out of there. So
I have a big question, like real tree or fake tree?
Such a good question. So I love both. I really do love both because the real tree, just the aroma in the house that it creates is so beautiful. And I love the smell of Christmas. However, I grew up with a fake tree in the house and I don't mind it. I don't mind that either. I think both are so beautiful. I think it's important if you really love this holiday to make time to have a tree, whether it's a small one or a big one, a fake one or a real one. I think you should definitely make time to at least create that memory in your home.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of the holiday, especially if you really, really love this holiday. And I love coming home to, the Christmas tree. And again, it doesn't matter what size it is. Like if it's a small one, that's okay. But if it's, and even if it's real or fake, just make sure you enjoy it and appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love that my mom actually loves decorating for the holidays, and she takes great pride in putting the tree together. We do help, but there's something about it that she has just embodied when she puts the tree together and decorating it. And she likes to change it every year. But lately, she's been bringing out old ornaments that my sister, my brother, both of my brothers and myself have created or made through our childhood. Well,
those are the best.
I'm one out of 4. So we've made plenty of ornaments over the years, and she was able to basically use all those ornaments on one tree, and it fills up an entire tree.
Wow.
And she loves it because every ornament has a memory.
Yeah.
And it reminds her of something, or, a time that brought her so much joy. And I even appreciate that. So when I visit and I see that the Christmas tree has all these beautiful old ornaments, there's a memory in every ornament. So definitely just whatever it is, just make sure that if you do love this holiday, definitely. I'm a firm believer in making sure you have a tree, even if it's a small one.
Yeah, I think everybody has a favorite Christmas. The Christmas that you had a gift that you really wanted. Like, what's yours?
A gift?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
In the past, like the gift that made you the happiest.
That's a tough one, Randy. Oh, I don't know.
Tough questions.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, tough question. I would have to really think about that one. A gift that made me the happiest. Well, if I had to really think about it, I would have to say I want to say my parents got me my first bicycle.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I really wanted a bicycle for Christmas. And I remember that I think that had been a beautiful memory for me, but that was a long time ago, clearly. Right. I've been fortunate to be with, honestly, Randy, being with my family is actually the best gift for me now.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the bicycle when I was a childhood, but now that I'm much older, and I appreciate just spending time with my family and being so fortunate that I am able to be with them. Yeah. And I think that's the best gift.
Yeah.
Of all.
I think that's.
Am I correct on that one?
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that even though we're celebrating Christmas, we do have to give a shout out to all the other holidays that everyone's celebrating. I have family in Florida that celebrate Hanukkah, and they're gearing up for that. And I love that holiday too. I have such an appreciation for all the holidays, but that one's another one that's near and dear to me. So I appreciate that too. So all of our viewers that are listening, happy Hanukkah, because I know that's coming up as well. All right. We should definitely start to talk about our guest.
Yeah.
Super excited about our guest today. So for anybody that is just joining us, we didn't get started, but we're about to with our guest. So if you are someone who is experiencing any type of hair loss or maybe thinning of the hair, you really appreciate this conversation and our next guest that we're going to have, because this will really give us some information and maybe the solution to the problem. So we are so excited to welcome our guest, Fred Ondris. Fred Ondris is an MBA and a business development manager in New Jersey and Pennsylvania for the Nutrafol company. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand. Nutrafol is built on a science-backed approach to whole body wellness and hair health. The products are clinically tested and physician-formulated to support different biospecific needs during various life stages and lifestyles so that you can grow into the best version of yourself. Please welcome Fred Ondris.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, hello,
Hey, Fred.
How's everything going today?
Oh, we're wonderful. I don't know if you were listening. We were talking about Christmas, and we
excited.
And then we started talking about the holidays, and then I started to get really anxious. And I'm like, we need to change this topic of conversation immediately.
No, it's okay. I'm very much looking forward to Christmas myself. I will be spending it in Disney World this year, so I'm super
excited.
Wow.
That's a great idea. Oh, oh my gosh, that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
Are you going with a big group or a small group?
My whole immediate family. So we try to take that trip at least once a year, and it just so lines up with our busy schedules that it's always the week of Christmas.
What a great
Wow.
idea.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to Disney World around Christmas. I think it's always been like during the summertime. But
Yeah.
again, this was such a long time ago. I'm sure it's so much better now.
They definitely do it right.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that will be so much fun. Oh, so excited
Yeah.
for you. Well, Fred, enough about Christmas, enough about vacationing. We need to talk about some more important things like
Mhm.
Nutrafol. So let's dive right into it. What is
Absolutely.
Nutrafol?
Yeah, so Nutrafol is a nutraceutical intended for hair growth, growing the hair, wellness of the hair, overall just internal wellness and health. It's been a product I'm very happy to represent in my career, and I cover all of Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. I really kind of learned the ins and outs of the aesthetic industry as a whole, and I really wanted to focus more so on just the internal wellness of the industry, and Nutrafol and myself kind of align that that way, excuse me. And a Nutrafol is a nutraceutical. So nutraceutical is a term that really combines nutrition and a pharmaceutical grade botanical extract. And that's where our bread and butter is.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, we were before we started filming the podcast. I was reading some of the notes, and I said the word nutraceutical,
Yeah.
and Randy right away, we started talking about that word. So I'm so glad that you defined that, because
Yes.
that was something I was not too familiar with, and I'm so glad that you touched on that.
Yeah, definitely a little confusing for the average user, but something we're very, very proud of as one of the first in the space for it. Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. So, Fred, how did you, I guess, get involved with Nutrafol?
Yeah. So I started as a young sprout at 21, selling lasers, dermatological lasers and body
Mhm.
contouring devices to different medical spas, different physical therapists, different facial plastic surgeons in that aspect. And I really felt as if I wanted to do something more for the internal wellness of the industry, because I
Mhm.
realized that was such a large part of it. And, it's great to feel externally well and have beautiful hair and a beautiful face, but internally, what are we doing for the body? And that's really where we aligned very well. So the rest is history. I've been here since about 2.5 years now.
Okay,
Wow.
okay.
I was saying earlier, Fred, like there is not a man that sits in my chair that doesn't bring up hair loss, right?
Mm.
Thinning, or, oh, my dad's bald. Am I going to go bald? So
Absolutely.
I was really happy to meet you and take on Nutrafol.
Yeah, something that's affected such a large number of people. Nearly half of the women in the United States experience some sort of hair loss, whether that's postpartum or just in that menopausal age range. And it's actually 80% of males in the US are experiencing some sort of thinning or shedding of hair loss right now. And up until about 7 years ago when we were created, it was just very generic um, pharmaceutical drug-based modalities to fix and help with that hair growth. So I think there's some synergy between Nutrafol and Curry.
Yes. Now, Fred, you actually just answered my question that I had I had next. Um, you talked about that it affects men and women, hair loss, obviously,
Mhm.
and that Nutrafol can help both. What would you say? I guess you would say the percentage of men or women that use Nutrafol.
Yeah, I would say we probably have served over 500,000 clients or patients this year alone, I would say, and that number
Mhm.
is expanding vastly. Myself, I cover a lot of dermatologists, plastic surgeons, and medical spas in the area, just in those 3 local states. And we have roughly 350 clients on board, and that doesn't even count the salon style of
Mhm.
what we're doing. So it's been increasingly popular because what we like to say here is there are no side effects, just side benefits. And that's something that I do talk about quite a bit.
Excellent, excellent. So, could you talk about how Nutrafol works?
Yeah,
What basically kind of paint the picture for us, for someone
absolutely.
who needs, convince them, to try it, and what they
Mhm.
will experience.
Yeah, and I would like to note, there is a major difference between simple hair nutrition products, powdered collagen, different strands of conditioners out there, found at your local drugstore versus standardized ingredients like what Nutrafol is offering that patient. And not all products are created equal. So our ingredients are standardized and concentrated to specifically clinically affect the dosage of what we're doing for maximum absorption, efficacy in the body, just sustainably sourced ingredients. And due to that fact, obviously, we are the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand. But we have different clinically effective formulations known for hair growth and wellness based on just age, gender. And like we said before, that 80% of males are affected by hair loss. We need something in the market to combat this. And this is a really good product for that.
Excellent. Excellent. So I've expressed this on camera multiple times. I suffer with lupus, and one of the symptoms with lupus is hair loss. And I'm always battling that and trying everything you can think of under the sun that could help with hair growth.
Absolutely.
And I've tried it all, but I have never tried Nutrafol. So that now that we're having this conversation, I'm considering that. Now,
Yes.
have you ever worked with someone who has an autoimmune disease such
Absolutely.
as lupus, and that you've seen a success story out of that?
Yeah, we do have a very wide array of patients. This is a safe product for PCOS, lupus, thyroid issue patients. This is really something that a lot of your clinical derms and plastics and med spa owners will be able to give them as a first resort. It really will not have any interaction, clinically speaking. If you're on other medications, we do want to make their primary care physician aware of these other medications that they were on. And
right, of course.
Nutrafol, of course, just for compliance. But it is really a safe product to take, especially for a patient like yourself. That would be a home run. I'll have to send some bottles your way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I actually, people always ask or compliment, like Randy today complimented my hair, which is a big compliment, by the way, from Randy Curry.
Hair and shoes.
It's huge, right?
That's true. And especially coming from himself. That is
that's right. First thing he said, Fred, was, your hair looks so good today. And at first I was like, oh, thank you, Randy. And then later I thought, I was like, Randy Curry just said my hair looks good today. That's a good compliment.
Yeah.
Well, I wear hair extensions, so I have to, it's just to kind of give my hair a little bit more volume. Yeah, and
80% of women wear hair extensions.
I understand. Yes, I do. It's become more popular now than ever before. But I wear the hair extensions just to give just to give a little bit more volume for camera. And I've noticed that my hair loss, and this may be for many individuals who suffer with hair loss, that some months are worse than others, like when the changing of seasons. So I'm sure you've heard stories or heard, individuals who experience hair loss that maybe during the winter months, because it's so cold, there's more hair loss. And I've seen that. For me, it's, it's always up and down, but I've seen that. So I'm sure that you get a lot of people that are interested in Nutrafol around this time of the year.
Absolutely. And recent research reveals like hair loss is a multitude of factors, right? It's
yes.
Stress. It could be hormone related. DHT is something I talk about quite a bit. Oxidative damage, even damage due to the products that we're currently using. I know I've been talking about dry shampoo more than I ever thought I would be in my entire life, which is quite interesting, right? And it's all these different things that are coming out in regards to hair science, just like it was back in the day of skin science, right? Very similar to that. But, all three of our formulations, our women's balance, our postpartum, our men's, have a synergen complex that's specific to what you would be dealing with if it's that patient in the winter months dealing with high cortisol levels, right? And that's something I talk about pretty much on the daily. It's our patented blend of those effective natural ingredients to help target those key root causes, one of those being stress. And that ingredient we call sensoryl ashwagandha. And we talk about that all of the time.
Okay. Could we touch on the ingredients or key ingredients? Because that is actually, we do have a listener that just commented with a question of, what's in the Nutrafol supplement. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Yep. And I always like to kind of refer to Nutrafol, and it's one entity or one nutraceutical in 4 different capsules a day. But it's 2 boxes, I like to call it, right? And this box to the left is your multivitamin. It's your vitamin A, C, D, zinc, magnesium, iodine, selenium. And now in addition to that, we have a synergen complex, ashwagandha, saw palmetto, biocurcumin, tocotrienol, marine collagen. To the average user that might not be experienced with those ingredients, I always touch on saw palmetto and ashwagandha. Saw palmetto is something that inhibits DHT. DHT is something that we produce naturally. Some of us produce more than others. And that's something we talk about. But in terms of stress and where you're located in this Northeast corridor of the region, ashwagandha, a stress adaptogen. And an adaptogen is a natural substance derived from plants and mushrooms that's really going to increase the body's ability to adapt and build resilience to stress. And that we find even past COVID has been a very big thing, right? With stress-related hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to the hair follicle? Really, it's stress or elevated cortisol can prematurely shift hair from the hair growth cycle from the anagen phase to the catagen phase, which means it's falling out, right? And elevated cortisol also induces oxidative stress and deregulates the immune system, which is known to compromise the hair follicle. So ashwagandha is really a quality, standardized, patented, and clinically proven source of ingredient that is specific for cortisol reduction, if that makes sense.
Yes, no, I appreciate that information. That's something new that I did not know. Ashwagandha, is that what you said?
Yep, that's correct.
Yes. Okay. That was very helpful information.
I
as soon as we're done here, I'm going to start researching more about that specific ingredient because I had no idea. You said you listed ingredients and I was familiar with some of them, but then there were some that especially, that I did not I just didn't know, and they are just as important. So I'm always learning, I'm always want to learn more to help. And I know that research and studies are always improving every day. So there's always something new, but I'm sure Nutrafol has just improved their product over the years. Now, how many years has Nutrafol been in business?
So we've actually been around for 7 years. We've really been selling to physicians for the last 2 or 3 here, which has been really due to the fact in which you said is science backed, right? And we understand that clinical research and data to prove that this supplement or nutraceutical is actually helping those patients, which is really important.
Who's the best candidate? Like if you had like a star user, who would it be? Like young guys that's just starting to experience hair loss, or
18 and up. It very much gender fluid in the sense it could be a male, it could be a woman, 18 to, God willing, 118.
Right. Yeah.
And really targeting thinning and shedding, those kind of aspects where we can increase the density or the fullness of the hair is something that we definitely we hit home with 100%.
Okay. We just received another question. Do you need to get blood work?
No, we absolutely do recommend that. And for their primary physician, that's something if they want to be on Nutrafol, it definitely helps. Maybe it is a thyroid issue, and that's something that's underlying that we wouldn't have known prior to. It's not necessary to go ahead on, to Curry and go ahead and purchase Nutrafol, of course, but it definitely doesn't hurt. And we absolutely want to make sure their PCP physician is just aware, right? And that's something that's important to us.
Oh, yes. I feel it's always so important to make sure that if you are seeing a physician or a doctor for something specific, like for example, with me, with my lupus, I see a rheumatologist. If I were going to be taking anything, I always would refer, go to her and let her, inform her of this, I'm taking these supplements or I'm taking this medicine or I'm taking, whatever I'm ingesting that is going to be put in my body, because it's also important to document it and journal what you're putting into your body. Eat not just supplements, vitamins, medicine, also the food you eat, which we've talked about here. It's very, very important to be aware of what you're putting in your body, because it'll affect your stress, it'll affect your skin, it'll affect your hair. So it's very important to always journal. That's a piece of advice I'll give to everyone. Make sure you journal what your intake, especially if you're going through some health changes. But I'm very, very eager to try Nutrafol. Yeah. I really am. Now, how would you compare it to something like biotin?
So biotin is a supplement that's recommended for hair, skin, and nails. We do have biotin in Nutrafol. Not to say that biotin is something that we're kind of leaving out. We just realized that there's many factors to hair loss, and providing biotin, which is a source of protein, it's a great start. But is it truly helping the rest of the body fight or combat that hair thinning or shedding? So we found that it's not the only thing that is necessary for that growth. And that's why we've added the ashwagandha, the saw palmetto, the curcumin, which is derived from turmeric. So again, very natural based ingredients in addition to the biotin to really catapult this growth stage and extend as long as we can to grow the hair.
Excellent.
A question I had posed to me is, how long do you have to take it? Once you're on it, do you have to take it forever, or?
So we recommend a patient on this at least 3 to 6 months, and they're 4 capsules a day taken with the largest meal. Of course, if a patient is maybe an aversion to pills, they can do decapsule and put it into a protein shake or a smoothie, whatever they're really used to, nutritionally speaking. But we would say, you know, we've had patients on this for a multitude of years. You're talking 3, 4, 5 years plus. It's really up to the individual. As you know, hair is very emotional. It's very visible in the sense of everyone compliments either your hair or your shoes, which is kind of ironic, either the top or the bottom, right? And we notice that, you know, patients don't want to give up what they've already had. Now, in one aspect, if you stop using Nutrafol, will my hair fall out immediately? No, that is not the case. We're hitting these certain vitamin thresholds every single day. As long as you're consistent with it, the product will absolutely work. And we want to make sure you're maintaining the growth that you already have.
Yeah, no, that was a very good question. I was just thinking that, like, how, if I were to try Nutrafol, how long would I have to be on it to see results? So just to reiterate that, you said between 3 to 5, 3
3
to
to 6 months is
3 to
usually
6
that
months.
period. And it really depends on where the patient is or the client is nutritionally speaking, right? If we have to do more work in the body, let's call it, it will take a little bit longer of a time. But, you know, there's always that outlier patients that starts taking it in 2 months and their chia pet hair grown. You know, it definitely works like that. But I would always say, and especially when we're in month 4, 5, and 6, when you're taking 4 pills a day, it does wear on you in the sense of, I'm taking these pills and I don't see amazing results just yet. When you're there and you're on month 5 and you're on month 6 and you're not super duper happy, just push through. It's like a roller coaster and you're working your way to the top. And instead of going all the way back down, we're going to plateau and keep staying with the growth. So it's absolutely worth it to kind of finish out that 6 months, I would say.
Gotcha.
I'll give you interesting tidbits. You know, redheads have probably about 90,000 hairs on their head. Brunettes have 120, and blondes have the most, 140, like natural blondes. Blondes are more thin, like the hair's thin, the shaft. Redheads is the thickest diameter.
Interesting. Fun fact of the day. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
I'm thinking that myself.
Right. You know, I have a question that just came to me that I'm sure maybe any of our female listeners are thinking, but are afraid to say. I'm taking Nutrafol to help hair growth, obviously, my scalp.
Yes.
What about the rest of the body that we don't want the hair to grow? So what's going to happen?
Very, very common question that comes up pretty much every day.
I don't want to grow a mustache.
No, you're safe. No facial hair. For myself, I would particularly love a nice beard. Unfortunately, it's just not happening for Fred at this time. But only hair growth on the scalp, and that's our intention.
Okay, gotcha. So I won't have.
You don't want to be a werewolf.
Yeah, no. I think it's a very, very like normal concern. I would hate to start taking, you know, Nutrafol and all of a sudden, you know, hairs everywhere, and I would not want that. But I'm sure it's a question that many females are asking. You know, if I take this, will I have, you know, an hair growth everywhere, my whole body, or is it just, you know, obviously just on the scalp, which is, I feel, a very important question.
Before we took on Nutrafol at the Curry, a lot of people, once we got Nutrafol in, a lot of people came to me and said, oh, I'm on it already. You know, like postpartum, it's popular, really popular for postpartum.
Yeah, so that was one of our major holes of our portfolio that we needed to fill. And it's pretty recent that we launched it, which is really awesome because it was intended for adults 18 and up. And we would say avoid using if you're pregnant, breastfeeding, or if you're obviously allergic to any of the ingredients. Those were major no-nos. So there was a very large population of females that would experience postpartum hair loss. Above half of females that give birth are experiencing that postpartum hair loss. We wanted something all natural, safe to take while breastfeeding. And that's what we came up with the Nutrafol postpartum. And instead of our Synergen complex, which I discussed, the ashwagandha, the saw palmetto, we are using our Synergen recovery complex. And the easiest way to kind of describe what we're doing is, you know, the female has given pretty much her entire life to this baby. She's been growing for the last 9 months. And then you deal with all of this postpartum depression and potential hair falling out. You're depleted of all of your natural resources. And this Synergen complex or recovery complex really helps build that female back up so she's not experiencing that hair loss, really helping out just with that all natural wellness after she has the baby.
Wow.
Gotcha. So it's safe
Yep.
for so many individuals, which I think is important. I know that throughout the podcast, we actually added the link because there was a question of how some of our guests listening can purchase Nutrafol and how can they purchase it. So we did add a link. Now, is there a website or, some information that, to find out more information and educate ourselves about Nutrafol if we forget?
I would absolutely go on to currydayspa.com. I know that's where we're actually selling to providers, Randy himself, at a wholesale cost. So it's a discounted amount for the patient as opposed to going to our.com. And that's something that I do advertise in my territory quite a bit because, it does get expensive if you're ordering this for 12 months. Now, if you can get it at a discount, I don't care if it's 20%. I think you guys are actually running something special coming up in the winter months here, and especially around Christmas, where I definitely advise to go get it from Curry.
Well, we're doing 20% off tomorrow through the week. So
there you
go. It'll be selling like water.
There you go for all the products. That's perfect. And there's the link. It's just been added to our podcast. So you can check that out at currydayspa.com. And you just search all the products for Nutrafol and you'll be able to find out all that information. The discounted code, I'm sure, will be there and applied, but I'm sure it's just for this week. But I am eager to try it. I really am. I am very eager to try.
Santa, we'll give it to you.
Put it under the Christmas tree.
Right. All right, Fred. So, Fred, we're starting to wind down with this interview, but is there any other information that you wanted to make note of that we did not get to?
I think we covered a lot of the basics of regarding what Nutrafol is and how it can really aid a patient's journey into growing their hair and maintaining, and especially in salons where they're getting cut and dyed and ombraged and balayaged. So you could tell I grew up with a few sisters around the house, so I'm pretty, pretty involved. So it's something that every single patient can use and take and really find themselves not only feeling good internally and helping with reducing stress, which I know is very apparent nowadays, but internally speaking, it's amazing. Externally speaking, we're going to grow some great hair. And not only do we have vitamins, we have topical solutions, we have shampoos, conditioners, the whole 9 yards to really make sure that patient and client is comfortable and really enjoying their success with growing hair.
Excellent. Fred, we were just so excited that you were able to join us today and provide us with so much information about Nutrafol and its benefits and what it offers, both female and male. So it's definitely a product that I'm eager to try, and I'm sure our listeners are eager to try and learn more about. So thank you for providing all that information.
And Fred, we're interested in who you would sit down with for podcasts.
So to be honest, I have been kind of reaching out to Randy for years, and it was so awesome to finally connect with him and kind of do this. So this was, if I was prior to maybe just the hair industry, I would have probably said you, but because you opened it up to a lot of other options, I was going to say I'm very entrepreneurial in the sense of how I run my business and how I operate, let's say. I love like what Tesla's doing and SpaceX, but I'm a huge fan of Richard Branson. So that's somebody that I would definitely say is on my radar. Hopefully I get a little bit better with these podcastings and work my way up. You know how it is.
Have you seen his latest documentary on, I think it's on Netflix?
I have.
Richard Branson. It's really interesting.
I will have to check it out. I can't say I have. I like the fact that he's so wealthy and obviously doing so much for the world, but so joyous. You never really see him have, or at least publicly speaking, he never has those bad days, has those negative comments. So I really think we, as a whole, need to be a little bit more positive, especially, the holidays make it nice and organic to do so.
Totally agree with you, Fred. I thought that was a great answer, and definitely, ending with, making it more joyous, especially around this time of the year. Well, Fred, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, and safe travels to Disney.
Thank you.
And we will, I'm sure I will get to meet you in person. I'm sure Randy will see you soon. And again, safe travels.
And I'm going to order double the amount because you said podcast with me.
Oh, that's perfect. Fred was so great. I'm so glad that we were able to bring him on the show and find out more information and learn more about Nutrafol and its benefits. I've heard of Nutrafol, but I didn't really know about it until now. I guess my life, takes me, down, I guess you would say down different paths and around different products. And I never had the opportunity to, I guess, come across a Nutrafol product or someone who was very knowledgeable about it. So this was really helpful.
And we've been carrying it for maybe 2 or 3 months now.
Okay.
And the question you had, like about growing hair anywhere but your head, lots of people asked.
I'm sure. I'm sure it's a very natural thing, because I'm not afraid to admit that I am a firm believer in hair laser removal or waxing, and I'm all about it, whether you shave, wax, or hair laser removal. And I love hair laser removal. I think that's been the best invention ever. So I would be very upset if I'm taking something for my scalp and the hair is growing on my legs, and I just spent all this money on hair laser removal. So I would have been very upset. So I really appreciate that he reassured me that it's just for your scalp. So that's a good thing. But definitely check out Curry Hair, Skin, and Nails website to find out more information about Nutrafol and the discount that they're offering through the website for the products. So definitely, check that out. And there you go. It's right on. It's been added to our podcast link, so you can just check that out and see all the other products that you're offering as well. And speaking of other products, I have to make mention. This is one of my favorite Carello by Curry skincare products, the anti-aging facial cream. It has olive oil and lavender. It is phenomenal. I love the serums. I love the Italian Kiss lip balm. I love all of your products, but this one takes the cake. I really think this one is the best.
It's a best-selling product we have.
I believe it. I believe, especially around this time of the year, my skin has been so dehydrated and so dry, and I'm drinking water like crazy, and I still feel that I need that extra moisture, and this provides that. And I've mentioned this before during our podcast, that a lot of the Carello by Curry products, I just mesh really well with my makeup and my foundation. It never rolls or it never clumps, and I appreciate that when I look for a skincare product. But this cream is just really amazing.
That particular product, it's all natural and organic, so it's really good for your skin.
Oh, yes. It's amazing. And it is, I'm sure, on the website. So check it out on the website and make sure you try the anti-aging facial cream if you can get your hands on it. Right? Oh, boy. All right. Well, there you have it.
Happy
Number
holidays,
10.
right?
Yes. Happy holidays to everyone. And make sure you stay safe. Happy New Year, all the above. And make sure you follow us, because we have an exciting 2023 season for Pronto Podcast. We have lots of guests that are already ready, literally scheduled for 2023. And we're super excited to just start the new year with so many great guests and all this information we're going to learn.
And our producer told us that we're moving up rankings on podcast beauty and wellness rankings. We're like 161 out of like infinity.
Well,
like
that's a big deal. That's exciting.
Beauty and wellness.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think it's because, beauty and wellness is something that is important to so many people, and taking care of yourself. And I'm very honored to be a part of this conversation with you, Randy, and being able to provide that information and hopefully inspire others listening and give them that, that, I guess you would say, outlet, or, just learning something new to, change someone's life. You just never know. And thank you for the congratulatory comments. We appreciate that. And for everyone tuning in, just make sure that, you stay safe during the holidays. If you have any last minute holiday shopping, like just myself, just make sure you are very mindful and you put your phone away while shopping. Make sure you get in and get out, because you have to be careful. We get distracted on social media and on our phones, but just be mindful when you go shopping for whatever it may be, or while you're traveling. Just pay attention, right?
And be kind. you know,
Yes.
to the clerks, and like they're away from their families working, and
Yes, you're right, Randy. Be kind to the workers that are working during the holidays, especially the retail business, the service industry, restaurants. Ooh, be kind and tip. Don't just, even if you didn't have the best service, still leave something, because it will really make a difference. And it's not always that person's fault. Trust me. I've learned that being in the industry for so long, that you may think it's that person's fault, but there's a whole lot of people that are behind that person that, it's just, they get the blame. So my advice is to just make sure if you do go out, just make sure you are kind, you're polite. And if you have the opportunity to leave a tip, please do, because you really will make a huge difference in that individual's life.
Tipping means to ensure promptness.
Yeah.
TIP.
Yes.
Right.
There you go. There you go. Well, Randy, again, thank you so much. And everyone joining, thank you for listening. And we'll see you guys in 2023.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
Pronto.
Pronto, Randy.